take two, or actually three, I guess. So those who didn't see the Facebook Live attempts, there was multiple attempts made. And for whatever reason, Facebook wasn't playing nice with Ron and I here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a Zoom session, and hopefully this will work. I was hoping to have us on split screen so that we were both having that conversation. We're going to use the backup plan of Zoom, and we'll be able to have a conversation. And our conversation today is going to be about crystals. I'm really finding that there is a lot of disconnect from people regarding finding the right person, finding out who they should be connecting in with, because there aren't as many markets, there's not as many expos, and there's a fear to go out right now. So I asked a friend of mine, his name is Ron, and when did we meet, Ron? I can't remember how many years ago we met. Do you remember?
It's been a few years, I think. Yeah.
I know it's been at least 2. So it's been a couple of years. Ron and I both work at different markets. We've been table buddies and table neighbors for many a session. And he's the guy I go to for crystals. A lot of the crystals I have during my videos and healing sessions are, well, pieces that Ron have connected me with, or connected me to. And I really appreciate having that source where I can say, okay, this is what I need. My favorite one though is, Ron, I know I need this piece of crystal, this type of crystal. Which one is mine, and how much do I owe you for said crystal? That's how we've done that before. So I wanted, and I know crystals are such an easy piece for people to step into when they're looking at their spirituality and their healing. So that's why I started off with Ron with this series of connecting, well, different light workers with each other. So this is my friend Ron. Hi, Ron.
Hello.
So we're gonna just kind of have a very candid conversation about crystals. And I was hoping that people would be able to ask questions. However, I will have my contact details and Ron's contact details in the description box below, so that if you have questions, you can just email us, reach out to us. We're very open and available in social media, so we're out there and it's an easy contact. So I'm going to ask some of the questions and some of the pieces that I know I get asked a lot. And then, like I said, if there's other stuff that people want, they can connect with us directly. So, my friend Ron, thank you for coming. Thank you for being my guinea pig, and sorry about Facebook Live not working.
Oh, it's all good. It's the first time, and you never know what's going to happen, right? So it's a test in the waters, I guess, right? So.
Well, and it tried, right? We were able to try and add you, and it kept failing. So this must have been the way that we had to go for today.
Yeah.
So let's just start off with you a bit. What drew you into working with crystals?
I think I had actually gone to see a card reader, a psychic, quite a few years ago, and she just suggested you should carry some quartz crystal around with you and whatnot. And I never really thought anything of it. But I noticed I felt something more positive with carrying stuff around with me. I really carried a massive quartz crystal with me in my pocket for a few years before I started branching into looking at other stuff, maybe smaller jewelry that I could wear myself. And yeah, just kind of branched into just seeing what else was out there other than just quartz and whatnot. And blue kyanite was actually something that was a huge connection for me. And I find that it's something that has kind of stuck with me since the beginning. I never realized that I was attached to it, but there's something about that blue stone that I enjoy. And then I just started, I guess it's been about 8 years ago, just playing with creating wire wrap and um, just being able to bring crystals together. So I was doing it just for friends and family, but it became something that other people started to ask for. And 8 years later, I now sell crystals as well, as long as making the jewelry. So
Yeah. Yeah. You have some beautiful crystal work.
oh, thank you.
I've been able to see it like firsthand being at the different events with you, but also through, I know you're on Facebook and Instagram and you show the pieces and they're so amazing. I love the different ways that you bring in more than one crystal. A lot of times you will get a wire wrap where it's one crystal, it's beautiful. You add in other pieces and you do make that creativity shine within that piece.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm
Um,
trying to actually, yeah, that was the thing, is really experimenting, I guess, with incorporating different crystals for the different chakras and seeing how they work together and how they made me feel and whatnot, I guess, right? So,
mhm.
and then that's been associated with my own meditation practices and healing as well. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I'm actually starting to branch into creating more home decor pieces as well. So it's been a journey of just it just keeps getting bigger and spreading its wings further, right? So
And it's amazing how you get those different little deviations and it means so much. You gain so much fulfillment from sharing that passion and that joy. So what is your favorite part about working with these crystals?
um I think, well, in aspects of creating jewelry and even selling stones, it's being able to um to spread the vibration of the crystals to different people around the world, where people that might not have a chance to come into contact with certain things,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to actually bring stuff that maybe they're seeking for healing purposes or maybe even strictly for collecting, and
Mm-hmm.
just being able to connect them with different rocks and whatnot. So, and then definitely with jewelry, trying to create talisman um, for healing purposes and whatnot for different clients, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's amazing how, and I know that you and I've had a lot of conversations about you working with crystals because you get the big pieces and you bring them down into a more smaller, either hands-on or whether it be for the decor or for the talisman. You work with those bigger pieces and break them into chunks that are more meaningful for people.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm happy I can actually do, is I don't necessarily make the wire, but I can take just about any type of stone and make it into something, whether it's in a pendant or, but I can create it so it becomes something that's more wearable and really capturing the beauty of each piece. And
Hmm.
yeah,
And I think that's the big piece is that you don't just take a mass-produced, if you will, chunk of rock and try and reproduce it. You take the bigger pieces and you bring it down into what's more powerful and more important.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. You're the only
yeah.
person I know that has told me that they have like 50 pounds of a crystal in their possession and are going to bring it down. And I think that's fantastic.
It
So,
gives me the opportunity also to offer things at a cheaper price
mhm.
than I would be able to if someone else was manufacturing it. So at
Mhm.
least it's going through my hands, and I'm taking the love and care to make sure it becomes something that's appreciated for what it truly is, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful to be able to do that. So as I
And
collect more and more,
are as well. A lot of your clients, I see them because we're at the same events. They are very connected in with you because you know that crystal, that piece so well, because it's something that you have refined to that part, whether it be a raw stone or a polished crystal.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's I find that I end up hoarding a lot of stuff because I'm getting so much of it, but it's nice to actually have it, and when the opportunity arises for someone looking for something specific,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cases I'll have it for them, right? So,
Yeah.
which is great. So,
Mm-hmm. Now, I did just touch on something that I have been asked by clients and by students. What's the difference between raw and polished crystals?
it really, I think, some people, it comes down to personal preference, whether when it comes to healing aspects of it. Some people like the raw, untouched, unshaped pieces because
Mm-hmm.
it still has the original vibration, maybe. Some people enjoy the polished stuff because they can use it for meditation more, or it just
Mm-hmm.
becomes um, more versatile in different ways, I guess, right? Well, it could be displayed, or I guess they both could, right? So
Well, and for like like for people who aren't understanding what we're talking about, this is a raw crystal. It may not come out well. It's kind of jaggedy. This is a rose quartz, light pink, and this is rose quartz polished, so it's the shiny. It like Ron said, it's a very personal preference. And I do use a lot of the polish because I use them next to my skin or next to my client's skin. But I do have a few raw just around the house. So yeah, just thought
well,
I'd
just
sidetrack on that because not everybody is aware that they'll see the raw piece. Oh, get it in camera here, and they may not realize that it's just as powerful, or in some cases more powerful than the polished piece.
exactly. Some people just appreciate the untouched vibration,
Mm-hmm.
because even if someone else has polished it, then it potentially has absorbed someone else's energy or anything like that. In the
Yeah,
raw form, it's a little bit more natural, right? So yeah.
yeah. And if you happen to know Ron and Ron happens to know you, he gives you the best of both worlds. I love this piece. This is my favorite piece right now, the Healerite. It was one of those pieces that I messaged Ron and said, I love this. I need it. Let me know which piece is mine, and I will take it. Best of both worlds.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know crystals well, what would be the top 5 that you would recommend for people starting out with?
Um, I think the basics comes down to quartz.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Quartz is probably going to be a fundamental. Everybody knows what it is.
Yep.
The great thing about quartz, there are some quartz that are extremely expensive, but a lot of it is very affordable.
Yep.
So you don't have to spend a lot of money to be able to get it. And depending on the aspects of it, whether it's a generator or a record keeper, they're all going to have different aspects because every crystal is different, right? There's different
Yep.
formations, quite a few different formations, but you have the opportunity to pick something up that's maybe even just a few dollars, and it allows you to start working with something. So quartz is always, it's my favorite meditation crystal for sure.
So,
Um,
which quartz are you talking about? So people understand. There's, like you said, there's more than one kind. I'm not sure how well this is a clear quartz I have.
yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, I just had the rose quartz, which is a kind of a pink to a white. It's a light pastel-y pink color.
Yeah.
I also have smoky quartz, which is kind of has a bit of a gray hue to it.
Mhm.
Am I missing one? I know those are the three I use a lot.
Oh, and even outside, then there's amethyst as well, and citrine, which are actually in the quartz family. So that's the basis of the colors is the pink,
Yeah.
the clear, the black, the yellow, and the purple.
Mm-hmm. So
But then even,
amethyst for people who
yeah,
are, it's a purple. This is a raw amethyst. This is a raw citrine, and citrine is yellow. So yeah, and amethyst is such a fantastic one as well, and it's cheap and cheerful in the raw form or in the polished form.
yeah, I'll flip my camera around here. I'll just show.
Oh, and there's Ron's dog. If everybody saw the dog, she's the
Yeah,
sweetest dog ever,
that-
and she's obviously not happy with Dad, who's not paying attention to her.
that's Gemma's couch. I have straightened the couch out 3 times today, and she's laying in her favorite spot as usual. So
She's just a sweet dog. I love her.
when it comes down to different quartz, this one would be called a laser. So it's a long elongated point to the end.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that would be considered a golden healer. It just has that kind of orangey hue to it. This is one that's from the Himalayas. But then you have stuff like amethyst. This is a Thunder Bay amethyst.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get your purple, but this is considered a raw piece. And then I have, just so I had examples, is the polished amethyst as well. So, and then as a secondary crystal, amethyst it's funny that when I look across the table of stuff that I have available, amethyst seems to be I seem to have a lot of it. It seems to be I think I must enjoy the healing aspect of it type of thing, right? So it's
so
something
many of our chakras though.
Yeah.
If you're working with your chakras, it's one of the crystals that will actually connect in with all 7 chakras. So it is a very essential. For me, it's one of my essentials. It's a go-to crystal that I have.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say quartz, amethyst for sure. It's something that is very popular. Another one that I like myself for protection and for the fact that it actually comes in every single color of the rainbow is fluorite.
Oh, I love fluorite.
Yeah, it's a really great protection stone, but for the fact it has yellow, purple, blues, pinks, it could be used for so many different healing aspects because of all the different colors that are within it.
And that's the thing, and I don't think people realize, like, this is fluorite. It's a rainbow fluorite. It has purple and teal and white. You can get, like when Ron says it comes in lots of colors, literally in one crystal it can come in a lot of colors.
And even like with the quartz, the amethyst, and the fluorite, they're all very affordable.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you need to really spend a lot of money on to just as a starter kit type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Another good one, I don't have any examples, but is black tourmaline. Something that's very affordable, but it's a great grounding stone. For different, it's something I carry in my pocket along with quartz and whatnot, but it's a great stone for grounding and connecting to the earth and whatnot.
Yeah. And it can be really hard because like black tourmaline literally is, well, black, right? And it can be easily mistaken for something like jet. There's a lot of them that are just this black color, but it's the feeling in them, right? Like I always find that especially like tourmaline and jet, they're heavier.
Yeah, it's funny, I actually went to grab my pocket stones before we started today, and my jet's gone. I've been carrying it for, and that's the thing with crystals sometimes, is that they will go missing and maybe they're off to serve someone else, but I've noticed that my jet's gone because I'd actually been talking with you about that the other day, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who are wondering about the raw versus polished, if you're going to be carrying it in your pocket, it's a better idea to have the polished. The jagged kind of roughness, if you get that really close to your skin, you could start to, well, get pokes and it could start to rub and hurt, whereas you don't get that with that polish finish. It's one of the ways that I always decipher how close is this going to need to be to my skin, and will it start to cause skin damage if it's really close to that skin piece.
No, definitely. I seem to polish rocks in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they've gone in there rough, they all seem to polish each other within my pocket, just like a rock tumbler. But I have actually a piece of rhodochrosite, which is from South America, which had sharp edges, and it's actually been polished down, so it's not it's not smooth like it used to be, so, or more jagged like it used to be, so.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly how people polish, is that the rocks themselves. It's just like if you have rocks at the bottom of a river, that erosion happens.
Mm.
So
I'm always walking around with crystal dust in my pocket in some form or another, so that's what.
well, that's an important part too.
Yeah, I don't mind it, so. With the fifth crystal, so quartz, amethyst, fluorite, black tourmaline is a good one. Selenite. Selenite is an excellent stone for clearing other stones.
Yeah.
But it actually is something I actually have it in different display cases I have, because it accelerates the energy in all the crystals.
Yeah.
Along with clearing them, it'll actually amplify the energy that the selenite carries as well. So,
yeah.
And it's affordable. You can buy. It's not something I generally carry myself, but you can pick up sticks of selenite for a few dollars. So.
Yeah. So selenite can come in. This is just, it's a clear stick. It kind of is a little bit jaggedy. So.
Fibrous, yeah.
Yeah. You can also get it. I've got selenite in a ball form, and it's been tumbled. It's just, they're the same. Sorry, I'm not the right. There we go. It's the same crystal, just in a different format. And I always encourage my clients to have these above their doors to help with that energy, what comes in, what comes out. And it lays so flat, and it's so easy just to make sure that you've got that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many crystals. Like you'd mentioned healerite, that's slowly becoming a favorite from me.
Yeah.
But I think as a basic, it's stuff that I think everybody's kind of heard about or knows about. So yeah, I would say that the quartz, amethyst, fluorite, black tourmaline, and then the selenite would probably be the top 5 I would suggest. There's a whole realm of hundreds of different stone types out there, right? But for the basics, I would say those 5. So.
Now I know that some people have that size matters, right? the bigger piece of healerite versus the smaller piece, I've always actually found that some of the smaller pieces have a lot more power than the bigger pieces, especially if you're buying them from somebody who hasn't done the cutting themselves. This piece of healerite, it is amazing. But I don't think it's the size. I think it's just the way that that's how it was supposed to form. And you used your passion and your talents to bring that out. But I have smaller pieces, like I've got a small piece of citrine here, and it just lights up. And it's a tiny piece. It doesn't have to be these huge, gigantic, ginormous pieces to make a difference in your life.
No, definitely. Yeah, and with citrine, I have polished hearts and stuff like that, so stuff that's good for meditation. But yeah, definitely a small. I prefer the small ones as well myself. So
I find they're
even though,
easier, especially if you're going to be doing healing, if they can fit in your hand and you can easily like manipulate them.
Mhm.
Then there's pieces that you have for your house, like you said, that decor piece, but there's pieces that you need to do for your healing. And if you can't hold it, it's not going to make it any better. You're not going to be able to make that difference in yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
then I think when you're picking something, you pick it on how I do it, at least when I'm shopping for personal crystals. I'm looking for something that calls to me and is drawing me into itself type of thing, right? So
yeah. Because you have to have that connection. Whether it be a visual connection, that energetic connection, some reason you're drawn back to that same piece.
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To add to your list of ones that I find that are very helpful, carnelian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was actually a piece that I think I was at one of like Silver Cove's big event, and I happened to walk by it, and I fell in love with this piece. And it has such a radiant joy and love that I had to have it. It just makes you feel good to hold.
Yeah. Yeah, the orange agates it's just a soothing,
Mm-hmm.
I nice feeling vibration to it, right? So
Yeah. No. And that's the piece, you're going to be drawn to them.
mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of crystals that deal with things like protection or grounding. We've talked about the jet. We've talked about the tourmaline. Tiger iron. It's the one I usually use because it connects so well in with the root chakra and then also the soul star chakra or the earth star chakra. It's that weightiness, that heaviness.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of crystals that will overlap. But the ones that you're talking about, like the amethyst, the quartz, they hit so many different realms. That's why they're so popular. People can actually use them.
Yeah, I think for quartz, I think my favorite aspect is you can set the intention for anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other crystals will have because of the color type and whatnot, but that's why I like quartz so much, is because you can set an intention because it kind of covers all the bases, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that people need to realize that, yes, you can set intentions and you can actually program your crystals. So with a clear quartz, it's kind of like a blank slate a lot of times. And it's that clearing and setting those intentions, what you want to work with your crystal with.
Yeah.
Do you have any good clearing methods that you use for your crystals?
I think if anything, it's just been through Reiki practices, tune-ups that I've done, just learning how to do the clearing and the charging of them.
Yep.
So I'd taken a session last spring with a healer, actually Rona, that runs
I love
the
Rona.
metaphysical fair. Yeah, I love her as well. Rona that runs the metaphysical fair at Glenmorgan, she actually did a tune-up class out in Bragg Creek, and I I love the whole class, but I love that I was shown how to charge my crystals or clear
Mm-hmm.
them, or so I try to do it with everything I send out, where I'm sending that energy and um, clearing it for the whoever it's going to make a new home with, right? So
Exactly. I
yeah.
use Reiki as well.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts on, and I know people are very passionate about this, some people like to leave their crystals out in like the sunlight or put them back into, I've heard water or into the earth and the dirt. What are your thoughts?
For myself, I maybe every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month, I'll just go through my house and I sage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go do it through the different rooms. Every room in my house has some type of crystals in it, except for the my kids' room or the spare kids' room. But yeah, I'll just go through and sage everything with Palo Santo or with uh, with California white sage, and just ask anything negative that's around the crystals to be removed and to allow them to be at their fullest to help heal and protect. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
that's probably my easiest thing. I to put them out in the sunlight or in the moonlight. I have it a lot, so it's become the best way for myself to do it anyway. So, but there's so many different ways that it can be done. So
Yeah. I know here in Canada, I've had friends whose crystals have cracked because they've left them on door, like windowsills and stuff,
yeah,
because we will go from, minus 30 to plus 12 in 10 hours.
yeah,
Um, and that barometric pressure on the windowsill that just snaps them. So
yeah.
I always mindful of people who are like, oh, I put it in the sunlight. Um, I usually caution people to be careful that you can do some cracking and damage to your crystals because I've seen them explode. It was fantastically weird.
And it's always important to remember that there are certain crystals that if they're left in the sunlight, like amethyst and fluorite, it'll actually uh, deteriorate the color. So if you're leaving them in, um, it can actually take the color out of them. So it's
Yeah.
always good to know that as well. So if someone is practicing that, maybe just being aware that the brightness of the day, maybe not leaving them in the direct UV light anyway. So
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about the actual like the intensity because there are some beautifully colored crystals, like some of the fluorite that you've shown. It's so deep and rich to think that the sun would take that out just like it would fade anything else that's sitting on the sun. So,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's some fluorite specimens I have. If I left them in the sun for a day, they would go from blue to white. So just as an example, right? So yeah.
Yeah. And the same can be said about water. I know some people like to go to a spring or a river and submerge their crystals in water. There are crystals that will disintegrate or are toxic when they hit water.
Hmm.
So it's important to know your crystals and being able to clear and charge them so that you're not harming wildlife or taking away from that crystal.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is so many different crystals have iron and or not iron, but well, yeah, iron and copper and lithium. There's a lot of things that maybe, yeah, just to be careful and have caution with that anyway. So
yeah. Yeah. No, I can understand that. So do you have any other recommendations for people who are just starting out with their crystals?
Um, I'd say those are probably the 5 top ones that I can think of offhand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah,
I don't have any further questions. This is supposed to be a Facebook Live session, so I was hoping for people to have
for
questions for
sure.
us.
Yeah.
It will be something that I keep working on, tweaking it so that we get that process more fluid. And I know I asked you to bring some pieces that you had made because we did talk about the wire wrapping and the pieces that you're making. Do you have any with you right there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I did set a couple out. Just one sec here. Just with, I've been, it was actually a piece that I had bought from someone for Haley Aspects 9 years ago, 10 years ago, from someone in San Diego
Yeah.
that got me interested in doing different wire work and whatnot. I definitely don't spend as much time as I'd like to or should be doing different things, but
Yeah,
a
and now
moldavite,
you can see how you've put the 2 different kinds of crystals, or is there 3 kinds of crystals?
just two. Moldavite, which is meteorite, very powerful healing stone, and then it's been I've added emerald. So there's 2 different aspects of the throat chakra, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's upper level chakras as well that are associated with this piece. A personal one for myself. And then this one, no connection with the crystals, but there's an opal and watermelon tourmaline. But then with this one,
Oh wow.
there's fire agate from Mexico, topaz from South America, and then crazy lace jasper, and they're all sacral chakra
Yeah.
stones. So it's all kind of associated with the same thing for that. And then just single piece crystals like this one. It's actually one that I had made a few years ago for one of my kids. But something I've branched into is just making simple drilled pieces. So some stuff that's affordable for customers. This one's an amethyst from
Yeah.
Ontario. And then one of my favorite stones is Dominican Larimar. So,
It's
and I've
beautiful.
done, oh, thank you. That's one that I actually just finished in the last couple of days. And it's just really a lot, some of my jewelry can be quite expensive. So it's really just trying to have those pieces that are $20 to $30 that are affordable for people as opposed to something that's maybe over $100 or $200 type of thing. So
Yeah. Well, and that's the piece, right? Because healing should be something that everybody can afford. And whether
exactly.
it's jewelry or if you're even, like we said, keeping those smaller pieces close to you, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be in your
And that,
pocket or what have you.
no, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole thing is just, jewelry was never something I did to make money. I have been able to make a bit of a living off of it, but it's being able to make sure that anybody can wear something for me. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a super expensive piece. And even some of my silver jewelry starts at $60. And so it's still quite affordable anyway. So
Right.
just to
Exactly.
making sure it's obtainable for anybody. So
Well, and that's, like I said, healing actually, a lot of my videos, I've been talking a lot about how everybody needs to be healing themselves. Well,
mhm.
that's kind of one of our journeys and one of our lessons this generation is that healing and
Yes.
what healing connects most to you. So to have it just for the elite or somebody who has some disposable income. It's not how we're supposed to go forward.
Definitely. Something that I actually have missed, I've done a couple events this summer, but on my table at events, I have a cookie jar full of crystals. So anybody that comes, this is outside of everything that's going on with the virus, but I have a cookie jar that anybody can go through and pick a crystal for them to take with them without any cost associated with it. So it's not about the cause or the making something, it's about passing that vibration on to others. So that's, for me, that's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the thing I'm the most grateful for anyway. So,
And I think I was going to say, I think that's why we connect, is that it's not about the dollar sign for us. It's about working with people and really helping them on their journey and whatever that's going to look like.
yeah, exactly. Just making things obtainable for people. So if that's the choice and a path they want to go down, instead of it costing them a lot of money just to even branch in to see what it's about, it's something that can be affordable and cheap for them, right? So
Perfect.
definitely important to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. I know that people are probably having burning questions, and like I said, I'm going to have your contact details, your email, and your web page, and they can check you out on Facebook and Instagram, and then connect in with you on the questions that they have for crystals, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's the important piece, is that the more of us that are connecting in and supporting each other, we're supporting everyone else. So
yeah.
I want to thank you for being my guinea pig, and I'm so
thank you, and you're an angel for inviting me to do this with you. I'm really grateful. Thank you, Jennifer. Really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, Ron. And once we get this sorted out again, I might try and get you back on once we get Facebook Live figured out, and hopefully it'll work again for us.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
I want to thank everybody for joining Ron and I today in this, an endeavor. This is something that I've been working on for a little while and wanting to support my friends in connecting and branching out with some more light workers. There's a lot of us out there. It can be hard to find and connect in with all those light workers. So I hope that you were able to gain some more insight and direction into crystals and get an understanding on how you can start to work with these amazing tools that are right at our fingertips, if you will. Like I said before, below I will have in the description box Ron's contact details. So should you wish, you can go ask him questions. My contact details will be there too. So of course, please ask the questions. Without asking questions, we won't be able to experience and learn what it is we need to do right now. I am looking forward to continuing this venture with my tea and crystals with some of my other lightworker friends. I am hoping that in the future that Facebook Live will work a little bit better for us, so that I am able to have that open dialogue with my friends and, start to answer the questions that you have. I have a couple friends that I've been looking at and trying to coordinate schedules with for the upcoming months. So in September, I'm hoping again to bring in another lightworker friend of mine to support you on your journey, so that you can gain the experience and expertise that you need that's going to support you on your journey. There is no one teacher that has all the answers, and it's imperative that we connect out and branch out and use people's expertise and passions to our advantage. Well, until next time, my friends.